Hello everybody and welcome to today's podcast. I've got with me today Kieran and Danny from Montirex. Thanks for coming in, lads.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about the success really. This is a podcast really that does, I'm not saying there won't be things in there that you've had to learn and things that have subtly gone wrong, but it's definitely not a podcast this where there's been some huge failure and then you've rebounded back from that. Actually, you've set up a brand and it's your 4 years in and it's absolutely flying, it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Everybody in Liverpool will definitely have heard of it. But even now, more so, I said this to you the other day, I was in Manchester Airport the other day and there was loads of Montirex flying around. So it's getting out further and further. So we're going to talk about how you set it up, challenges along the way, what's gone right, what you've had to overcome. Talk about what it's like being, how old are you now? You're
24.
26.
24 and 26, so you're young lads, and you're like, to me, you're like the new Beatles coming out of Liverpool. We'll talk about in a bit how you hide that, Kieran, when you're on nights out. But we're going to have a good chat really about that, and and so before we do that, again, we talked earlier, you're Liverpool and Everton. You're Everton, Danny.
Yeah.
You're Liverpool.
That's right, yeah.
You've had loads of success. But it seems like it might be petering out a little bit. What's your thoughts on Liverpool?
Yeah, tired system, tired players, no midfield. It's a bit scary.
Yeah.
But I can still see us finishing above Everton.
You're level at the moment, aren't you? You're level on
like.
points, your first time for a long time. But I was saying, and I've said on other podcasts, I do get quite obsessed with organisations and how they behave. I think how organisations behave, in the end, will lead, won't necessarily immediately, but in the end, they will lead to the right outcomes. Klopp wasn't successful from day one, for example. But how do you think he's going to deal with it now, Kieran? How do you think he's going to deal with riding that crest of the wave he's had for the last 4 or 5 years and now?
I don't think I'm not too sure to be fair. I think he's got to play it out, hasn't he? Till at least January. Hopefully players come back. I think he will find a system that's working. But I don't know. If I knew, maybe I'd be manager. I don't know. No, I haven't got a clue. I just hope it does turn around. It's scary times for us at the moment.
And what about Everton? I mean, they've got Lampard in. What do you think of him as a leader, as a manager?
Not great, but I suppose you've got to give everyone a chance.
Him?
Yeah, I'd keep him. You can't keep sacking managers and expecting a new outcome. We've got to give him a chance and give him the money that he needs to actually be able to buy players. With all the stadium and financial fair play, he hasn't actually had the money to be able to buy anyone.
Yeah.
Or anyone of note.
Yeah.
So we've sort of just got to let him play out and see how many players he can actually bring in who'll do.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about infrastructure of your organisation now you've built it in a bit. If we talk about Everton, what do you think the difference of having the new stadium will be?
To be honest, it'll bring a lot, not just to the club but to the city as well. There's loads of opportunities, and when we had Carlo Ancelotti, it attracts new players.
Yeah.
It'll attract more things to the club. So hopefully that's
Yeah.
when we'll start turning and actually
Fair
playing well.
So Liverpool and Everton, how did you meet? When did you become friends?
When we were kids, really, we lived across the field from each other from when we were 12, something like that. Just playing footy on the field outside ours, and obviously just became best mates since we were 12. Really, just playing footy with loads of lads by ours. Obviously, he's 2 years older than me, so we went to a different school, but
Right, yeah.
we still always kept in touch, still best mates, and we've still got the same group of mates.
Yeah. When you was at school, what Kieran, what did you think I might be or I want to be or?
I didn't know. I always struggled a little bit at school, but I never knew what I wanted to do. I left school, went to do electrician, finished that, didn't like it, went on to be doing IT in college, followed on to uni doing IT, and come out being an IT engineer. But
Did you finish uni, did you?
I did finish uni, yeah. So finished, I was at a Jill, but I just never liked what I'd done, really. I just thought it was one of those subjects in school that I did all right at, and I just followed it all the way through.
Yeah.
To the point where I got a job finished for it, and then pretty much said to Danny, can't do this anymore. Need to think of something else.
Yeah.
And that's when we started putting our heads together a little bit and thinking about stuff.
And what about you when you was at school? What did you?
I was the same. I didn't really know. Just wanted to just play footy when I went to college.
Yeah.
And then after college, it was when I thought, shit, like, what am I actually
What
going to
did
do
you do
here?
at college?
Sports.
Right.
So, like,
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
just from school, went straight to college, done sports, and then I actually started doing what was it, Open University, doing business management.
Right.
Done like the first year of that, and I was just like, this is not for me. So I dropped out of that.
Yeah.
And then, like he said, then we just put our heads together and just thought of an idea.
So how did that work then? Go on. How did the first? Can you remember the first conversation you had about setting something up or a brand up?
Yeah, well, Keys, obviously, like he said, then he was an IT engineer, and we just had this mad idea one day about building websites. So we were looking for like different businesses to build websites for.
Yeah.
Obviously failed. And then we were like, right,
You were
well,
selling web build services then.
yeah, pretty much,
Basically,
yeah.
yeah.
But it was like very basic, so it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
like,
We were selling stuff you could do yourself
Oh,
online,
right, yeah,
basically.
pretty much. We only saw one. So,
Right. Yeah.
and then when we realised, we were like, right, what can we do now? And
What happened to that business? Do you know?
I just got rid of it, just changed
No,
the name.
no, the business site, the website you built.
Oh, I don't know. No,
You don't
idea.
know?
I've never kept up with it.
Wasn't Castor or anything. No.
No. But yeah, and then we just sort of pivoted then, changed what we wanted to do. We've always both loved sportswear. We've always both wore like Nike, Under Armour.
Yeah.
So we just thought, let's just give it a go. Nobody else is doing it, so
Yeah.
let's just try it.
So who built the site? You.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Danny put quite a bit of effort into it as well. Like,
Right.
yeah,
What did you build it on? The first one.
it was on Wix, the very first website, and it was the worst platform we've ever
Was it?
used. Yeah, we couldn't integrate it with any sort of apps or even like delivery methods, and it come to the point where like every time we got an order, we were manually like typing out the address, and when we started getting a little bit busier and we found like 100 orders coming in a day, we were like, there's like a full-time job just typing out someone's address. It was a nightmare. But yeah, no, that we moved over to Shopify, and it was like one of the best decisions we ever made.
Yeah.
Really good platform.
So you're building a site. Who's designing your first product or products? What did the first collection look like?
So we only had 3 t-shirts, a red one, blue one, and a grey one.
Right.
The big massive logo like that.
The grey was brown.
What were they, plain tees or?
Yeah, just like a mild t-shirt. It wasn't.
Right.
Thought they were awful, to be honest. The fit
Right.
was awful. Everything about them was awful, but it was very slow at first. We only sold like, I think when we launched that, like one of our mates, Tommy, bought 3,
Yeah.
and then after that, I think we had like 1 sale.
Right.
And then I went to my uncle's wedding. The whole time I was away, we didn't sell 1.
Right.
We were like, shit, what have we done here?
You still got your job at this point though.
Yeah, we still have
still
that
got
job
a job.
at this point, yeah.
Just before we go on to that part, then, the name, where did that come from?
Well, at first it was called Montega.
Right.
So obviously, because we were new to everything, we didn't actually know what we were doing. So we done it, just carried on. Like,
Yeah.
well, picked the name, carried on doing what we were doing, and then
And why did you pick that name?
Well, yeah, so probably my story to tell this. So I've got like bad dyslexia. We went out one night and we were thinking, what should we call this? Like I think we were playing pool, weren't we?
Yeah.
Having a couple of bevies. We were like, what should we call it? So we just started like googling like mad stuff in different languages, and I just said something. He went, and I knew I'd said it wrong straight away. I was, nah, never mind, nah. And he went, nah, say it again. I was like, nah, arguing about this name anyway. And anyway, I'd said it, and I'd said it completely wrong, so I'd misread the word
Right.
completely. But he was like, nah, it sounds good though. How do you reckon we spelled it? And yeah, that's how the name was,
Right.
like created sort of thing.
we've always had the same logo, like the M, but
Yeah.
it was obviously Montega. And then,
Yeah.
like I said, then we were just going about our daily business, and I got this random letter one day saying like, you're getting sued basically for having this name, and we were like, what have we done here?
Right.
Got like solicitors and stuff involved, and then realised like you've actually got a trademark name. So then that's when we actually changed to Montirex. But
Right.
looking back now, that's the best thing that ever
Yeah,
happened
yeah,
to
yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's that other brand do? Sportswear.
Oh, they build well, they don't build. They have like ski coats and stuff in it.
Right.
Yeah, there's ski coats, and then yeah, it was a foreign brand, nothing that you could buy in this
Yeah,
country
yeah,
or
yeah.
nothing like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So you changed the name to Montirex.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about those original tees, right? So you've got 3 tees, 3 colours, and an M on them.
Yeah.
and your mates are buying them.
basically.
And then what happens then? What's the next?
So basically, I think we'd sold about 20 at this point. So obviously we hadn't even made the money back that we put in. And then what we just said to the suppliers, what else can you do? So they were showing us all these different things, and then we found the space dye. So we were like, right, this is it. This is the idea. As soon as we got them, it just went crazy. Like, looking back now, it's not crazy because it was like 50 orders in a day, but at the time it was like, whoa.
Was that how quick it went from a couple of orders or whatever, a few orders a day, to doing 50 orders with a new product?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And what was the new product?
So it was like the trial tees we've got now, like the space dye. I actually remember we got them. We had the t-shirt and we bought like a pop-up photo studio, like 50 quid off eBay.
Yeah.
I put them on, got my mum to take a picture and like crop my head out and stuff that.
Yeah.
Put them online, and then it just went like, as soon as we put them on, like posted on social media, it just went crazy.
And you didn't have a big social media following
No,
then,
no,
though, I
Not at
guess.
the time, no.
It got to the point though, like, where we were running around, dropping them off to people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, wait there. Let me interrupt. Danny went on holiday and put the
Oh, did he?
put the live on the website, and then realised we started selling more than 10. So we said, if anyone buys by tonight, you can have free delivery the same day, by the way.
Yeah.
So then he rings me and says, oh, by the way, we've sold 30 t-shirts, but I said you can drop them off all tonight, because he's on holiday. So I'm flying around in my car, 30 t-shirts in the back to Dublin to random addresses.
Yeah.
And he keeps telling me, like, oh, by the way, there's another order. I'm like, did you say lad? Just stop telling people. I was up to about 2 a.m, dropping t-shirts off for people.
Brilliant. What the minimums you were ordering then? What was you ordering in, hundreds or?
Yeah, 100 of each colour, yeah.
Right.
So the first drop was 100, and then when we got the first lot of space dye, it was 100, and he sold out in like 2 or 3 days.
Right.
And then we upped it to like, I don't think we went too far. I think we done like 300
Yeah.
per colour.
Yeah.
In like the space dye ones,
Yeah.
we left the mile ones then.
Yeah.
And then done like 200 pairs of shorts in grey and black. And then gradually built it from there.
Yeah. So when you're immediately selling, and it's surprising, you're delivering, you're on holiday, and then I guess you're thinking, actually we could be out of stock here in a week or 2 weeks or whatever at this rate. So what did you do? Just reproduce the same t-shirt quickly and get it in?
Pretty much, yeah. And then we introduced 2 new colours.
Right.
So then we have 5 t-shirts and 2
Yes.
pairs of shorts.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was just about building quality then. So like, we kept the same range but changed the logo. So the logo was smaller and reflective the way it is now.
Yeah.
And then from there, then we had to start building ranges, because we actually realised then, right, we're not actually just selling t-shirts now. We've actually got a brand that we can build on. So
Yeah.
then we started introducing like tracksuits, woven tracksuits, fleece tracksuits, pretty much everything that we've got now.
Yeah.
We just had to start building it slowly.
Who was designing that?
Us.
The pair of us,
Both
yeah.
of you.
Yeah.
So both of you were
Well,
sharing the
he
design.
learned how to draw on Illustrator,
Right.
and then it was just like he'd draw it, and then we just make changes between us, and then even like down to the fits, like we're just doing the fits ourselves and stuff like that. Yeah.
And then creating tech packs to send to the manufacturer. Who was doing that, or was you not that sophisticated? What was you doing?
We were doing our own version of Tech Packs,
Was you?
basically.
Was you?
Yeah.
More just a drawing and then like notes on it.
Was it?
Yeah. Sometimes it'd be a PowerPoint with just like arrows at this, change this, do this,
Right,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah. And then what samples were coming in? And there must have been time samples coming in that were shite, or
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've had
plenty.
loads. Like we've got archives in the office
Oh,
there.
have you?
Some of the samples are bad, but yeah, like it was just more of like a testing phase for us really.
yeah,
And like obviously we were still learning. We're still learning now, but
yeah,
it was more like, right, that's definitely not going to work. Don't do that. But this could work, or like merging 2 different things together and making a better product.
yeah, yeah. And so you started to get momentum, but I mean, are you 4 years old yet? I don't think you are.
3.
About 3
3 years old, yeah.
3 and a bit. So, and your turnover in year 1 was pretty decent. So it must have accelerated quickly from, say, the first 3 months. What kind of happened after it started to take off? What was then the next level of like, now it's really taking off?
Yeah. So once we actually changed the name, we sort of spun it and launched into Footasylum with the name.
I think that was the turning point for
Yeah.
us.
That was sort of.
Did
like
they
when it was-
approach you?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
from what we've seen and like what we were told by the buyers is they go out scouting. So they do like festivals, go walk around town, see what people are wearing just to see what the trends are. And when we released the Space Dye t-shirts, I think it was around the same time as festival season, a lot of people wearing them. And they reached out to us and said, we really like this product. We can see it like doing well.
Yeah.
Do you want to launch into futsal with us?
Yeah.
But we had like an ongoing battle where we were still had the old name, but we couldn't actually launch into a shop without the IPO certificate or without it having a proper trademark. So that was like postponed a couple of months, weren't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, once that was out the way, that was like the turning point, thinking that first order, when they seen the money, we were like, Christ,
This is
like,
real.
this is real.
What
now,
did it
yeah.
feel like when you first started to see people dotting around in your t-shirts? What did that feel like?
Mad, really.
Yeah.
It was like a feeling where like you wouldn't ever expect it to feel like that. It was like pride.
Yeah.
Especially when it was random people.
Yeah.
Like obviously if you see your mates in it, like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
made up, but like when you see like randomers in town or like just by yours, it was like,
It's crazy.
Yeah. And then going into Footasylum, so they approach you, but obviously minimums, everything's it's a completely different ball game wholesale. And at that point, I'm guessing you're just dropping stuff, you're just designing it, getting crap samples, getting better samples, dropping it online, and you're gathering that momentum, but then it's a whole different ball game when Footasylum say we want to order whatever, 10,000 units or what was the first order, can you remember?
7,000, was it?
something, I think it was like 7,000 units.
But when they said to you we want to order 7,000 units, when they first said it, what did you think?
How do we afford this?
And what was the next step? How did you do it?
Your dad helped us out, didn't he?
Yeah, my dad helped us out quite a lot. My dad's got his own business and
Yeah.
he had a bit of like sort of money there that he could help us out with.
Yeah.
So when they put the first order in, basically we drew up like a mini business plan. So I was thinking, I know what my dad's like. He's awkward at times, and like I know for a fact that I wanted to, because of having the business as well, I wanted us all to say like this is serious now as well. So if me and Danny have got a plan, like we're asking him for money here, like I don't want him to think like I'm just going to the bank of Dad's or anything. I want him to say like this is what we're doing, this is our plan, this is why we want this money, and this is where we're gonna go to. So we sort of like sat there, like done like a mini business plan, weren't it? Sounds mad now, but we done like a mini business plan. We said to my dad, can we sit down with you for 5 minutes, speak to you about something? Showed him sort of our ideas, and obviously he knew what we were doing. But he didn't know we were going into Footasylum. Said that Footasylum have approached us.
Yeah.
We want this sort of this money.
Yeah.
Is it all right if you lend us it?
Yeah.
You can have it back in a month or 3 months. After the shipping and after the 30 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, he agreed to it, and he done it the following 3 times as well.
Right.
Until the orders grew too much for him to help out.
Yeah.
So obviously we sourced the money other ways, and we sort of had a little bit of cash behind us as well. But yeah, he was a massive help to us, really.
Yeah.
And when you went into Footasylum, you was that even in your first year? I think in your first year, towards the back end, you'd gone into Footasylum, had you?
I think it was this December, weren't it?
Yeah.
So we started in the January, officially started in January. I don't think we get any stock till like May, June, and then...
Yeah, it went in, it actually launched in May, didn't it?
Yeah.
Into the store because
Okay.
of COVID and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Delayed a bit.
Okay. So at that stage then, what do you feel like when it's in store?
That was a mad feeling seeing it in the store. Like, that was when you sort of realise, like, wow, we've actually done this, and like this is like serious now, and it's
Yeah.
again though, like we were still working, so like it wasn't actually like a full-time thing for us at this point. We still had our own jobs.
I think that's when we felt as well where
Okay.
it might be like we've got something serious here.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like something that we're doing after work as a hobby. It's like we could potentially, if we work at it, turn this into something big.
So then I guess you decide to leave your job. So you left first, or did you leave at the same time?
On the same day.
Same day.
Oh, did you?
Went
Organised,
out all weekend.
Oh, did you? So you'd already had you was already stocked in Footasylum before you did that.
Yeah. So we started in Footasylum in the May and then left in the September.
Right. Okay. So you still did a few months in your.
Yeah. So like we literally used to go to work as normal.
Yeah.
Finish at like 4 or 5 o'clock. Well, I finished at 4:30. He finished at 5. Go to our own office. Like we had like a small office round the corner. Stay there till like 9 every night. Go home. Do the same again the next day.
And who was picking and packing? Who was sending it out to?
Us, we were doing literally everything. So we were designing, picking and packing, doing all the marketing. It was even like stuff like paying Footasylum, like sorting the bank out. We literally done everything. So there's not one area of the business like both of us haven't done.
When did you bring on your first employee then, and what did they do? Who was it?
One of our mates actually. He was working in a factory and didn't like it. And we were like, well, we need a picker and packer. So we brought him in. And like, at first we thought, right, we're too busy to pick and pack now. It's like getting too much. There's that many orders. And then when we actually brought him in, he was picking and packing. And then on the week that he started, we sold out of everything. And he was just like...
Dry patch. Yeah, he had nothing to do for like 2 weeks until we got more stock. But yeah, he was like, why have I left my job? Like, you could do this.
Yeah.
Like, no, we can't, believe us. But
Yeah.
we had a bad like dry patch for like 2 weeks where there was no stock
No
and
stock.
no sales.
And where do you just sourced a little like unit or something to put?
Yeah, at first we did, yeah. So there was like a business park by ours and we just had a small office, like 200 square foot.
Yeah.
And then we moved into it was like a lock-up kind of thing, weren't it?
Like a garage.
So it was like, I think that was 400 square foot, so like 300 of it was warehouse space.
Yeah.
And then the back bit was the office where we sat. It was freezing in there, no heating, horrible. Spiders everywhere. And then we finally decided to move into, like, what was it, 3,000?
3,500 square foot.
3,500 square foot. And on the, like, we'd seen it, it was close by, and we seen the advert, and we were like, right, we need to go and see it. And the girl had COVID, so we couldn't go. When she finally said we can go, we had to isolate. So I went and right, we'll have it, because there was loads of people trying to view it.
Right.
Signed a lease, and then he turned up, obviously when he was better, and was like, this is massive, this is well too big.
Right.
Yeah, flapped it a
There was,
little bit.
there was nothing in it at all. Then when we actually put the shelves in, we filled it in like 2 months.
Right.
And then we were like, right, now what do we do?
I was going to say, was there ever a time when you looked at what you was doing, or you had to make a decision? You thought, "Hell, this is all a bit real here." Where, you know, like
Yeah.
signing for 3,000 square foot of office or something. Or
Yeah.
Like when we first moved into that, we had everyone helping us. We had all our families, friends, and stuff like that. And we were like, all hands on deck, getting it all done. We had it done in a week. And then when we moved in, it was only me and him in there at the time, because we moved in November.
Yeah.
And then we got the first employee in the February. So again, it was just me and him in there, and we were like, what have we done here? This is well too big.
Yeah.
But back then we didn't know like anything either. So like we moved in, like we signed the lease for too long. We shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
We moved in and we tried to convince them to like furnish it and put floors down. There was no lights in there, there was no floor, so we literally spent like every night flooring, like doing it ourselves instead of just getting someone in to do it.
Yeah.
Like we wasted a load of time like doing
Yeah.
stupid stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we have done every office we've had since really, because we just want it the way we like it. But we've wasted like so much time on stupid stuff like that, and could have got someone to do it. But it was all because like at the time we were so scared to like spend money, because I think at that time as well the office was actually, we were paying more for the office than we were actually paying ourselves as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So we were like, well, we weren't taking anything at that time because we were still working. We were like, this has got to work because
Yeah.
can't afford the office.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Yeah. The second year then, so the first year was pretty successful, but the second year kicked on massively. What was it about the second year? Was it the sales in Footasylum?
It was both really. At first, it was primarily sales from Footasylum.
Yeah.
But then we obviously realised like you can't, like they could drop you at any time, and then your business is sort of done
Yeah.
or in bad trouble. So we sort of like spun it away where we invested in like the creative side of social media and like the paid side of social media, and started pushing our own D2C channel.
Yeah.
And then we just sort of kicked on from there really, and then we had, I think the percentage split was like 60-40, then more sales towards our own website.
Yeah. And the team you built, how many do you have in the team by the end of the second year? Do you remember?
I reckon it was like
10?
Yeah, between
Like
6
10 or something like
Yeah.
that.
to 10, yeah.
And how many was in the marketing team?
One.
Really?
Yeah.
One in
Yeah,
your marketing team.
really lucky with them.
You didn't have massive, I mean, you spend quite a bit now, but you didn't have massive budgets.
No,
I think I met you, I don't know, the end of year one or something like that, I guess, somewhere like that. And I remember looking at your P&L and being like, where's the marketing budget? And you was like, I mean, it was like a few grand from memory or something like that. What point did you start building that team out?
The main, like the paid social side of things and like PPC, we only started doing that like October.
Yeah.
In the second year, so from the January to the October, like you said, it was minimal. Like we were only really paying for like shoots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was all the marketing budget was going on photo shoots, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Like there was never any paid activity on any of the channels.
And the other thing then, that if you're not spending on paid, is everybody else is spending on influencer. But you weren't really doing that either, was you? I mean, you have backed. You can talk about some of the athletes you've backed, because it's kind of part of the fun, I guess, of the position you find yourselves in. But it wasn't like I was looking for the paid ads. There wasn't many of that. Then you're looking for, it must all be influencer led. What was your influencer strategy?
I don't really think influencers work as such anymore. Like the people who come out of the reality TV, no one cares about them.
Yeah. It did work for a long time for girl stuff as well, but
That's different.
At that time, like, I think our sole market was Liverpool. So we know we wouldn't listen to it. We were designing clothes that we would wear.
Yeah.
So we knew, we cottoned on quick that it's going to have to be marketed in a way that we would buy it. So the first thing we done was looking at like sort of athletes instead of influencers. And we found sort of an easy route to speaking to boxers, MMA fighters, finding them really down to earth, and the fact that half the time, because they're that busy and they're training all the time, if you were to send them just free clothes, they didn't want paying for it, they just wanted something to train in.
Yeah.
There's not like, it's few and far to come through with like unless you have a massive name, you're getting an AJ Under Armour deal and stuff like that. So for us, like being new and us wanting to be a sports brand, we were sending them and getting really easy content back from them, because they were literally posting about being in fight camp or training daily. We're just robbing the pictures and posting them ourselves essentially. So that was like our first sort of like strategy into marketing.
Who were the first few that you?
I think some of the Smith brothers really helped us out.
Yeah.
Then we got into Leon Edwards, MMA fighter from Birmingham. Well, now world champion in the UFC. From the very beginning, he just said, just send me it down.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd made it, because I can't remember what fight it was, but I remember seeing on telly, BT Sport, he was doing a commercial for when he was fighting, and we went, oh my God, there's our logo.
Yeah. There's another one of them moments.
It was like one of those crazy moments where we thought we'd made it. Then we got like Jazza Dickens, and we just threw it out to a load of boxers and MMA fighters who were just keen to wear it for free at the time.
Yeah.
So that helped massively in our strategy.
And do you think that's, I mean, I'm answering my own question here, but do you think that's one of the reasons why this has been so successful, is that you are the customer?
Yeah.
You are the customer.
At first, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. You've gone into different, you've got different consumers now, different product. But in them early days, really, you was going into you've MMA and fighting fans anyway.
Yeah.
And I guess the general customer in the early days would have been 20-odd-year-old lads from Liverpool, I guess.
Yeah, at first.
And so you end your second year and you're flying. And then this year we're in, which is we'll be coming up to the end of the third year, you're flying even more. So what's this year been like for you?
Crazy. Like, this is what, when we done this, the business plan Kieran was talking about earlier, this was like 10 years down the line where we are now. Like we knew we'd get there, but we never expected to get there as quick as we have.
Did you know you'd get there?
Yeah, we believed that we'd get there from the beginning.
What made you think that? Just early success, or
early success, like the drive, and we've never wanted to work for anyone else. We've always been like that since we were kids. We've always wanted to do more and be more and work for ourselves. So we knew with the drive we had, we'd definitely get there, but it was how fast we'd get there, we didn't know.
We'd never really give up either. It was like, we'd be up till silly hours, like doing stuff like, we've never actually like thought, like we need to give it a rest or we need to have a break. Like, probably only this year we took our first like holiday.
Yeah.
After 3 years of doing it. And I mean, you'll know we've had a couple of holidays this year. Every time you ring us, you ask us if we're in the country, but we do actually do a lot of work as well, like behind that. But yeah, like this, I think this year for me personally has been like the bit where I've learned the most.
Yeah.
The bit where I've needed to like sort of massively grow up, find out like this is like the time where like this is like business for us.
Yeah.
This is what we've.
Does
really
it
found out.
overawe you that at all, or do you just embrace it and enjoy the challenge, or is it times where you think, fuck, I feel a bit outside of me?
Both really, like
Yeah.
there's some obviously stressful days, but a lot of the time it's nothing that we can't deal with. Like we've always had adversity from literally the get go. Even
Yeah.
like the worst one, for example, was having to change the name. We thought that was it, we're done. Like
Yeah.
we've lost all our savings and all the money we've put in, but obviously it just depends how you bounce back, really, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
how you pivot and just change your strategy.
Yeah. You seem to be enjoying it as well
Yeah.
at the same time. What are the things you enjoy the most about what you're doing at the moment?
It's doing it with your best mate as well, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Doing it together. It's like if you're doing it on your own,
You ever fall out?
man, not really.
Hey?
Yeah.
You said no and he said yeah.
No, we never fall out, but
Obviously
Yeah.
disagree and argue, but we've never actually
Yeah, yeah.
fell out properly.
Yeah.
no, we just. I think the best thing is we call each other on like bullshit.
Yeah.
Like that's always been like how it works so well. I think we've never fell out, but like there's been like some daft ideas thrown in the pond before.
Yeah.
And he said no, and I've said shut up, stop it. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I think that's like what makes the working relationship good. Do you know what I mean? Now we've had to split our job roles. We know what we're doing, even though we're doing separate things. Like going back to where you said you'd ever struggle doing this or that.
Yeah.
Like I know I can struggle. Danny, just give us a hand on this or vice versa, and like no question, really stupid, and no like scenarios like stupid for us.
Yeah.
Like where you find yourself being. So
Yeah.
And the main thing as well is like if you're doing it on your own, you could let it slip a bit. Like we know, like if I slip,
yeah.
I'm like ruining it for him, and vice
Yeah, yeah.
versa. Like you've got to.
Do you sometimes feel that pressure? So, I mean, you do a lot of things together, but do you ever feel that pressure of a bit like, oh, I can't go out on a Sunday and not come in a Monday
Yeah,
because
that's
I'll be
it,
letting
like-
the other person down?
That's it. Like you can't like let each other down. Like you can't not go in one day
Yeah.
and he's in. Like I couldn't stay off and he's in for no
Yeah.
like just stay off for no reason. Obviously, if you're not well or you're doing something,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
fair enough. But
we know what we're doing though as well. And not that we know what we're doing, we know what each other's are doing most
Yeah.
of the time.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah.
So like, there's not really like you can't really lie to him and say, I feel sick today.
and we lived across the field from each other up
We
until
lived
like
over the
6
road.
months ago.
Do your
understand.
mates treat you any differently?
No, it's the
Okay,
same
no.
as we've always been with them. Really, like there's never been like, oh well, that's like a us and them kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's always just been the same. Like
Yeah.
nothing's really changed in that respect.
Yeah.
Same with like family and stuff like that. We're just the same people, really. Like we've not actually changed at all, have we?
No, I don't. Well,
Well, I don't think we have.
unless everyone's
I'll have
chatting.
to ask them. What do you enjoy most about what you're doing? What's the best part?
It's not like a boring subject, is it?
No.
So it's like you're working in fashion, you're working in sports.
Yeah.
You're getting to deal with all these athletes. We've got a really good team around us. There's no one like we don't enjoy seeing. Like we just love like going to the office every day and even like being there till late and being on your own. Like it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
It's a weird. I don't know how to explain it really. It's a weird feeling.
Yeah.
But working for yourself. It's
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything better.
What's the worst part about the parts that you enjoy least?
There isn't really anything, to be honest. It's just we know what we've got to do and we just get it done. Like there's no part that's bad.
Yeah.
It's all like you said then, like you're doing it for yourself. Like
Yeah.
if you were doing it for someone else, you'd be like, oh, can't be bothered doing that today. But like you've got to get it done. Or no one else can do it for you, so you've just got to do it.
I've never had a meeting with you where you're stressed out.
No.
Any of you? Do you get stressed out?
Yeah,
You do.
I
Get
do.
stressed out. Both of us get stressed out every day, but it's just how you deal with it. And
Yeah.
you've like you said before, like when you're doing stuff for yourself, the stress will never last. Like you know for a fact, like if you do it, you'll overcome it, and then that's it. Then you're done, and you can move on from it.
And you don't get stressed out that some people have this, and I have it, to be honest with you. I constantly wake up. I remember doing Pete Cowgill from JD on here, and he used to throw up every day. He used to throw up with the stress every day of going backwards or it ending. You don't have that kind of anxiety that, fuck, we're riding a wave here. What happens if? What if?
Just taking it every day at a time, really. I think that can be like quite dangerous thinking like that sometimes. Like if you're thinking that, I mean, it's good to plan ahead, but like all sort of like it's a negative thought as well.
Yeah.
You're putting too much negative pressure on yourself, then you're only gonna put more pressure on yourself to fail as well.
Yeah.
You're keeping positive and you're keeping like your head clear and you know what you're doing, sort of. As long as you take it day at a time. And I feel like that's the best way for me anyway. So.
Do you think it'd be different if you was doing it on your own, one of you? Have you ever thought, God, if I was doing it on my own, what would it be like?
Yeah, because no one else would understand what the problem was.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if I'm stressed or he's stressed, like, you can talk to each other, and then in the end, you're like, oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But then if you were talking to somebody else who didn't actually understand the situation or has never been there, it's hard to sort of put it across in that way.
Yeah. What does the operation look like now? You're in your 3rd year. How many's in the team? Give us a mere indication of what kind of volumes you might do in a day online in terms of actual number of orders or whatever. And how are you structured and what's the challenges?
Yeah, so we've got like 25 in the team now.
Yeah.
Like Kieran said before, we've split it, so like I'll take care of like marketing and product side, and Kieran will do like the warehouse and the finance side. It's just basically we were both trying to do the same thing at once, and it sort of got not a bit messy, but like we both tried to do the same thing and not knowing what the other one was doing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Just a like lack of communication, and
Yeah.
with the more people coming in, the more people Danny might be saying like, "Can you do this for me? Can you do that?" And I'll be saying exact same, and jobs might have already been done or something's been missed out because not one of us have said the right thing on that day.
Yeah.
Then it was easier to separate it, and me and Danny just have a catch up now. Like once a week, we sit down for an hour and say, "Right, what's going on your side? What's going on this side? What do we need to do? What's our plans?" And then like sort of set out our like weekly goals as well with the team on a Monday morning. Sorry.
Yeah. You've been ripped off a few times. When I mean ripped off, there's people copying you.
Oh,
And some of it is absolute blatant copying. When you see that kind of thing, what do you do?
Nothing you can do. We don't own our designs. Don't own Space Dye. It's not something that like we can't stop people doing. If it was the logo, then maybe the name, maybe.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's obviously working. People are obviously looking up to us, want to be like us, want to
Yeah.
like flattering really. So just a compliment. At the back end of the compliment really.
And if they're copying it, they can't ever be a headache, can they? So
No. True. You never I've asked you before, I've gone, have you seen these? Have you seen these? And you've always seen them. And it just never bothers you. There'll be other people. And I think there's some things that you guys do that you don't know you do. But I know you do it because I can see other people do other things. As I can see lots of other clients where they'd be really offended by people copying them. So much so, they'd be diverting attention to seeing what the other lot were doing. But you never let anything like that get into the boat, do you?
nah, there's no point because you can't stop them doing it, and they're going to carry on doing it anyway. So there's no point worrying about it.
The way we feel now as well, like we know like we've got like massive plans coming. We know how big we are, all we're getting.
Yeah.
So I'd rather put more time and focus into that, and then let people think, oh, like they're actually working hard, they're doing this. Like, this is where they are now.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you like you said, if you're putting time into someone else's brand or someone else's business, it's not healthy. You're not focusing on your full attention on yourself. So,
what are your biggest challenges at the moment? You're more than doubling in size every year, aren't you?
yeah.
What are the challenges that brings?
It's hard because we've never done anything like this before, so it's knowing what to do next.
Yeah.
No one's our boss. No one tells us what to do. It's figuring that out for ourselves, I think.
Yeah, every day.
It's the biggest issue. Like putting new systems in, like having a team, having a HR, having like you guys accountants, like needing to know what finances we need to do this time of year. Finding all that out for yourself is obviously one of the biggest issues and is stressful. Like with finance, you miss a deadline, it's going to cost you money potentially. Same with Footasylum delivery or whoever else, making sure everything's running smooth.
Like the day to day as well. Like if, say for example, when I worked in the factory, like I knew I had this job to do.
Yeah.
Like I had to go and get the job card, do this job, and then that was done. Whereas now, like there's no set thing you need to do every day. You've just got to sort of get in and like, right, what do we need to do now?
Yeah.
And that's the hardest bit.
Yeah.
Because when it was just me and him, or like when the team was smaller, we knew that we had different jobs to do, but now we actually have all departments covered and most bases covered. So it's like, that's what they're doing. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. How do you've got 25 staff. My guess is next year you'll have 50. How do you Do you enjoy that? Do you enjoy
Yeah.
having the team?
Yeah, definitely.
And you've both found leading that team easy or difficult, or
Yeah, pretty easy. Like I said, we've never changed, so like we're sort of just one of them kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like we don't see it as us and them. We don't boss anyone about as such. We just get on with everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a very relaxed workspace.
Yeah.
We've always had the opinion as if you don't take the piss, we're never going to take the piss.
yeah,
So it is what it is, and like we're always open, aren't we? Like we've only just, like, when we moved into our new unit, got our own sort of office.
yeah.
So
You've just
people
moved, haven't you? Well,
recently,
in the last-
moved into a new unit. So
What size is that now?
it's 16,000 square foot, that one,
Yeah.
and we need a new one already.
You've been in it about 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months we've been in it and realised it's too
Are
small.
you starting to get too big for it now?
Yeah, I think by Q1, Q2 next year, we might sort of struggle to
Yeah.
fit stuff in.
And in terms of the landscape of, like, I asked you earlier how you were doing, and your figures just tend to go up every single month. I've got other retailers who are struggling a little bit now, who are struggling around the Queen. You know, August can be a difficult trade month anyway, because a lot of people are on holiday. So you've got August is usually not great. You come back this September, there's a lot of issues, a lot of non-purchasing around, you know, the Queen situation. And then some of them are a bit like, it's not bounced back this in October. Now we're thinking there's a recession type or a lack of confidence in the market. But you don't seem to be getting that, do you? You just keep climbing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Potentially it might be that wave you talked about that keeps us going through those times, but it is something that we think about, and it is something that we like I think we mentioned it earlier, like you take one day at a time. Like hopefully we don't go into recession, people don't struggle that much that they can't stop spending money that they enjoy stuff on.
Yeah.
It is going to be difficult over the next couple of months, I think, but I think we've got that sort of like maybe hype and that bit where people are going to continue purchasing from us. So
And I think you're right. I don't think it's true of all trade, but when we had a Be The Standard event live in Leeds, Cowgill was speaking, and he said, in his opinion, it doesn't really matter in what you wear on the street. And you've got, you know, you're a sportswear brand, but you certainly wore on the street as well. It's a sign and it's a symbol of who you are and what you are. So people in a recession will always find, they might not be able to afford a BMW, they might have to downgrade a BMW to whatever vehicle, but they will always find money
Yeah.
because it's kind of a symbol, an emblem of who you are and your status.
yeah, it's a very good way to put it, I suppose. Yeah.
And so I think you guys will be all right. If you look at, we'll come on in a minute to the future, but again, I talked to you earlier, we've been around fashion for years. And a friend of mine used to own Henley's, that was massive. Before that was Ringspun, a massive Northwest brand. Talked a little bit about Superdry. I know there's a few others I know of where they've really had a slipstream at some point, and then they've not been able to maintain that. So for you guys, what's the kind of, what are the things you will look at in the future that you've got an eye on to think we need to maintain this level of momentum to not become the victims like some other brands have done in the past?
Yeah. To be honest, it's more for us now about expanding into other territories. Like we haven't even scratched the surface yet.
Yeah.
So I think until we get to that point, like we won't actually know what the next step would be. So obviously we've got like Europe, Americas, even like Australia and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Do you do much in the other territories at the moment?
No, we don't actually have international shipping on at the minute. So
Right.
it's literally just UK
Yeah.
and then a bit of Northern Ireland.
Yeah. New territories, anything else?
Yeah, going into Ireland and Europe.
Yeah.
And then eventually America. But like I said, at the minute, it's literally just the UK.
Yeah. And if you look at Castor, another brand that's been around probably just a little bit longer than you, they have thrown a serious amount of money at every sport. There's people playing tennis in it, golf in it, you know, they're doing the teamwear stuff. They've got cricket, they're doing almost everything, and they must be massively funded by investors. You're obviously not going to do it that way, but do you see yourself breaking into that top four in the future? And if so, what do you think you need to do that? Do you need to do teamwear?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, I think in the future it'd be good if you got a big team. But if you got like I don't know, say a Newcastle, for example, like nobody outside of Newcastle is going to buy that kit. And then I think the thing with Castor is the main line is so expensive, so nobody who's going to buy a Newcastle kit is going to buy a £70 training t-shirt. Like, it's like the too far apart, if you know what I mean. Like the main line and the kits.
Yeah.
Like the two completely different audiences. Like you'd never actually see anybody wearing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas if, say, for example, they were more priced like us, then I'd say, well, that probably would work.
Yeah.
I think we've got the perfect opportunity to go into every sport as well and branch out, and it is something that we want to do. So there is potential for something like teamwear, but it's not going to be our focus.
Yeah.
We do want to branch into other sports, but only scratching the surface of like boxing, MMA, and trying to get like the athletics side going at the moment. But like potentially we do want to be a full sports brand. We don't just want to be known as a boxing brand or an MMA brand. Yeah. We want to be known as a sports brand. Yeah. So hopefully in the future we can get there.
In the past, Under Armour had AJ and Reebok. They had the pump back in the day, and they had all the NBA stars wearing it. Do you just think part of that evolution is bigger, more widely known from different territories, endorsements and ambassadors? Is that how you see it? Or when you're going to say you went into the US, how would you think you'd do that? Go in with a retailer, pick a number of sports athletes. Is that how you do it?
Pretty much, yes. Obviously, go into big retailers over in America, get big stars. Obviously, we've got Leon now, and like I said, he's the world champion, so he's massive in America himself. And then we've got like a couple of athletes in America already, Dom Cruz, Roman Bravo Young, so we just expand the roster. Yeah.
In terms of advice, obviously you're very young, advice for other people that want to start a business, what would you say to them?
Just do it.
Yeah, do it. Don't look back. Put everything you've got into it, and just don't be complacent. Like, don't think, I'll do it tomorrow, just get it done and start.
Feels like everyone gives the same advice, like don't be scared and just go for it, but you actually have, like, it is right.
Yeah.
Like, we were scared, like, we didn't know what to do, and we just thought, we've got this money here, we've saved up, like, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to lose out. We did have our day jobs, so just going for it, and even if you do get it wrong, like, we still get something wrong. We're doing stuff wrong every single day.
Yeah.
It's one of them, and it's how you learn from it and how you crack on the next day and just leave it.
You do work hard, you do play quite hard, but you do work hard. There are some people that launch a business that think launching a business itself is going to make it to be a success. You guys, you're not scared of failure, but I'm pretty sure that you would. You've kind of got a belief that you would do whatever it took to make it work. You would do the hours. Do you switch off at the moment or not?
Not really. Like, it's like a 24-hour thing for us. Yeah. Like we still put the hours in. We still work till like 8-9 o'clock some nights, and that's just what you've got to do if you want to get to the top.
Last question for you both. When you look in the future, do you have a vision? What does it look like? What does Montirex look like?
Global brand, one of the biggest brands in the world, not just across sportswear, across everything.
Yeah.
We've always started this not for money, but to build something reputable and to like have like a legacy, I suppose.
We don't want to sell out. We're here to stay. Like, we want to build something and be a part of it, and hopefully carry that wave on for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Keep it going for as long as we can. So we're not here to like make quick money or get out of it.
Yeah.
When we can, we want to, like Danny said, we want to be the biggest brand we possibly can be.
Well, lads, that's it. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
I'll bring you on in a couple of years and see where we get to.
Compare us.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for coming in. That's the end of today's podcast. Thank you, everyone, for listening.